Gurubhyo Namaha. We are embarking on a new journey on Sri Devi Mahatmyam. Devi Mahatmyam is the oldest text in Shakti Upasana. It is one of the oldest texts because Puranas came much later, and that is when, and Brahmanda Purana is the last of all the Puranas. Puranas came much later, and Brahmanda Purana is the last of all Puranas. It is only then we had Lalita Sahasranamam, Lalita Trishati, Lalita Upakyanam, everything we found it towards the end of Brahmanda Purana. Because there is supposed to be the final kind of a resort for you to reach the Brahm. That is why it is kept in the end. Till such time these texts were not revealed. Whereas Devi Mahatmyam is the oldest text. It actually, there is the beauty of this. It is you can call it as a kind of a spiritual classic. In the sense, there is myth in that, there is poetry in that, there is philosophy in that. The lyrics are of a narrative is there. Narrative is there. So everything combined, this is a complete package. Devi Mahatmyam is a complete package because it has got everything in it. What is the importance of that? It's like any other text. There are perennial questions in our heart between what is dharma, especially in this Kali. Adharma also looks like dharma. When someone goes and kills somebody, the murder is also justified in this Yugam, Kali Yuga Dharmam, the murder is also justified. So there is always a conflict between dharma and adharma. How this universe emerged? What is the divinity? Who are these human beings? What is the connection between all the three? Humans, universe, and this power above all of us. What is the connection? Where is it connected? How are we going to deal with dharma and adharma? These are all the perennial questions. Perennial questions that all of us go through. It is not like, it is meant only for one time. Even probably in the Krita Yugam, they must have asked the same kind of questions. That is why all these texts emerged much later. Right? So, this is like, there is a conflict between good and evil. Sometimes evil appears to be good, good appears to be evil, both ways. Right? This is what this one clarifies. This is actually the battles that happen in this, the asuras being killed. It is all about battle. Devi Mahatmyam is all about the battle. Like Bhagavad Gita, the battlefield is our consciousness. Battlefield is not the real battlefield, but it is human consciousness, which is always torn between dharma and adharma, good and evil, all the dvandam. This is especially now, there is like aggression is more. There is that possession, you want to possess everything, and your impulse towards that power, anger, everything is something in an exaggerated mode in this world, in this Kali Yuga. We deal with this here. This is darker side of our lives. These are all, we can call it as all our ego, passion, anger, hunger, all these things. Hunger for power. I am not saying the physical hunger power. You will do anything for that. Now we are seeing our politicians doing that. All over the world. It is not only in India. All over the world, They go to any extent to get into that. Right? This is what we deal with it here. It is like, it is described as Asura or the goddess being there. She killing them, destroying them. But actually, she's destroying our characters, our negative characters. So this is a battle that happens within us every day, every minute. Every minute, this battle is happening within us. Within every one of us. It's mainly for human values. The other beings are not counted here. Mainly for human beings. But one thing we have to understand, there are a lot of dualities. There is like, good is there, evil is there, pleasure is there, pain is there, birth is there, death is there, everything, all the dualities exist. The main point here is, she is the one who creates all these dualities and she is the one who destroys that. Vera yarum panala, velilendhu varala. She keeps that duality. She creates the dualities. She wants us to rise above all these dualities to reach her. This is the crux of Devi Mahatmyam. This is the nucleus of Devi Mahatmyam. Okay? Now we go to the origin of how it originated. History, no? It is boring history, maybe. You were a history teacher, no? So you will not find it boring. Payback time now. So we go back to pre-Harappan age. The worship of Durga dates back to that age. Some 2600 BCE, before Common Era. So it is as old as that. How we find out? There are excavations from the Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro Harappan civilization. They found all the terracotta tablets, clay tablets. In that there are figurines of female. It is not like, actually these things were not well defined, male or female, but with a person with a disheveled hair and with eyes sprouting out, fighting with a bull. This kind of figurines were found in the Harappan excavations. Interestingly, there are more number of female figurines than male figurines. Interesting it is, like, female worship dates back to that age. That's what I'm trying to say here. Because it is only much later, even not during the Vedic religion. Vedic religion talks about the sun and the energy that you receive from the sun, the Brahman and all those things. Post-Vedic religion, when the Shakdarshanas happened, Shaivam came, Vaishnavam came. Everything came after that. The male dominance happened only after that. So female was dominant even much before Mohenjo-daro Harappan civilization. That is what we date back. The proof of this again finds its way in Vedas. Rig Veda is supposed to be the oldest of the Vedas, all the 4 Vedas. Rig Veda came first. Devi Shuktam and the Ratri Shuktam mentioned here in Devi Mahatmyam, they all are from Rig Veda. So you can say, like, the worship of the female goddess was there much before, all through the ages. It is not nothing new or new to this present age. It is not new to this present age. When post-Vedic religion age post-Vedic age, when the Shat Darshanas were formatted, that is when Shaktam became very classified form of worship. Till such time, probably it was the only one that was followed. Shaktam became a recognized form of worship probably in 300 BC. 300 BC, the Shaktam became a classified form of worship. Then Devi Mahatmyam. When coming to Devi Mahatmyam, I told you this is one of the primary texts in the Shakti Upasana. It is part of Markandeya Purana. Markandeya Rishi, sage Markandeya, relates the origin of the world in each Manvantara. Manvantara means it is an age. Every, what you call, like, Manu, every Manu is in charge of, till that Manu's life lasts, one Manvantara is counted. Okay? There are like that, there are so many Manvantaras in this. And Markandeya, Rishi Markandeya, he relates to his disciple Kraustuki Bhaguri. His name is Kraustuki Bhaguri. He relates the history of the world, the origin of the world in each Manvantara, how it happened. So when actually this Devi Mahatmyam forms us from 81st chapter to 93rd chapter of Markandeya Purana. When it comes to 8th Manvantara, suddenly Devi appeared from somewhere. Till such time there is no Devi, no mention of Devi. For 7 Manvantaras there is no mention of Devi. Devi Mahatmyam starts like this. Savarni Suryadhanayo Manu Katyate Ashtamaha. It starts like Ashtama, 8th Manu. 8th Manvantara. Suddenly Devi appears. There are a lot of questions about that. There's a lot of doubts about this particular aspect. Because Markandeya Puranam, post this there is no mention of Devi. It is only in the 8th Manvantara they have mentioned about Devi. Not before, not after. Very, very interesting fact it is. There is no mention of Devi post this. It is only these 13 chapters in the 8th Manvantara she was talked about. And one more thing is, normally Puranas also, as they age, there is some changes that happen. Markandeya Purana also had that kind of changes, and many of the scriptures were lost. Markandeya Purana also, many of them, the text was lost. But Devi Mahatmyam remained intact throughout. So these two aspects actually brought in a lot of doubts in people, whether this was added by a Shakti Upasaka later, or all these queries comes. This kind of doubts arise in people. But it's clearly as the 8th Manvantara starts, because it is after that he goes on to the 9th Manvantara. So 8th Manvantara Devi was present. We have to take it only like that. So Markandeya, he relates the stories to his disciple, Kraustuki Bhaguri. And there are commentaries about this. Bhaskara Rayar has written commentary. Bhaskara Rayar's is the only commentary based on Tantra. Markandeya, this Devi Mahatmyam, more than Vaidiham, it leans towards Tantra. It leans towards Tantric aspect. And of course, we still justify this is as Vaidiham. There are commentaries on that, on the Vaidika aspect of Devi Mahatmyam. But the only person who wrote on the Tantram, the expansion of Tantram. Tantram, Tattvam plus Mantra is Tantra. Tattvam plus Mantra. Mantram is there and the Tattvam is there. In Vaidya Karma, what happens? We follow only the mantra. We understand the Tattvam, but we don't incorporate the Tattvam in the Upasana. Whereas in the Tantric Karma, this Tattvam is also incorporated in that, in certain different practices, in rituals concerning that. So Bhaskara Raya basically is Tantric. He was a practicing Tantric. That is the reason he was looked down upon by all those his peers at that time. We have heard about his history there. So he has written, because he says his, by the way, this commentary of his is called Guptavati. Gupta means secret. Guptavati, Gupta, highly secret text. He says, this is drishya, not kritya. Drishya means what is seen. Kritya means what is written. Devi Mahatmyam is not a written text, but what was seen within within quotes. Seen. How the Vedas came. He gave that kind of elevated position to Devi Mahatmyam. He says like Vedas, Devi Mahatmyam was drishya, not kritya. It was seen, it was visualized. It was not written as such. Because even when Sage Markandeya was relating these stories to his disciple, it was all oral. I think for so long it was oral. The texted script came much later. Like Vedas. Now we get Vedas. There was no Shruti. Shruti, you had to hear it. It is in the same way, Devi Mahatmyam was also heard. Not read. Not read. You should be hearing and seeing. Okay? So, he was the first one to write on the tantric point of view. The uniqueness, why this text is hailed so highly. People recite Lalita Sahasranamam, people recite Lalita Dashati. They do all kind of things. But still there is a unique place for this Devi Mahatmyam. It gets so much of respect and it is held very high. What is the uniqueness of this text? When you look at it, we have seen so many avatars of Mahavishnu. We have seen Ambal's avatar. Only these two have taken a lot of avatars to protect people. So many avatars we have seen. We have seen of the three gunas, we have seen the sattvic guna more. Sometimes rajasic like a Nrsimha avatar, that we had to have it. But here Devi comes as tamasic aspect. This is the one avatara because a demon is tamas, embodiment of tamas. She comes in the same form to destroy him. She also comes in the tamasic aspect to destroy the tamas of that tamasic demon. The divinity takes the tamasic form to destroy the tamasic demons. This is the speciality of Devi Mahatmyam. This is the uniqueness of Devi Mahatmyam. Why the tamasic aspect of Ambal is Mahamaya? Mahamaya is her tamasic aspect. Maya. Dark goddess, Maya. That is why she is also depicted as Kali. Kali is the depiction of the tamasic nature of the divine. It is not like, how we understand that. How we understand the tamasic divinity. So we give the dark complexion to the divine divinity. Divinity always supposed to be serene and beautiful. But you give a tamasic aspect to describe that iconography. You paint her in black. Kali is painted in black to only denote the tamasic divinity of hers. The crux of Shakti Upasana lives here. Shakti, she encompasses the source of both good and evil in her. Yet she is beyond all this. She transcends all this good and evil. She comes good when it is good. She is because a demon is also her creation. Negativity is also her creation, as much as positivity is. So she is the source which encompasses both good and evil. The source of all good and evil she encompasses. And she can sense that. This is the crux of Shakti Upasana. Accept everything as her. Every being as her. Another aspect of, another main characteristic of Shakti Upasana is mentioned here in Devi Mahatmyam. It is, we call it as Avarana and Vikshepam. Avarana means concealing it. Concealing the Parabrahmam, projecting the imaginary world. Illusory world, not imaginary, illusory world. Concealing the Parabrahmam is pure. Parabrahmam is Nirguna Brahman, which has got no beginning and end. But the world being projected for us is with all the names and forms and all the, with beginning and end. There is an expiry date for everything that comes here. How it is able to emerge from something that is pure, something that is called the elevated Brahman. How this thing can emerge. So we call it as, that is where we call it as Mahamaya. She conceals it, Avarana. She conceals it. Maya makes us believe that this is everything. This is the truth. This world is the truth. We don't go beyond this truth. Maya conceals. It is because of the Maya, a mother is able to love one's child. Because it is my child, my children. That my comes. That is Maya. Nothing is yours. Even you are not yours. The saddest part is that. But still, this is, Vikshepa means projecting, projection. This projection of something which is transcendental. This is what Devi Mahatmyam says. These two aspects, she encompasses both good and evil in her. She is the source of all this, and everything emerges from her. Be it good or evil, everything emerges from her. In the same way, she projects the world, concealing the reality. She projects that illusory world as real by concealing the actual reality. That is the Brahman. So, projection and concealment and projection. First being concealed, and then only is being projected. So she creates this finite universe with names and form from the infinite Brahman. That's the one line. There is a single explanation for this. Now how the world is projected, how the world is created. All these things come in the first chapter of Devi Mahatmyam is so important because it conveys the entire thing in the first chapter itself. The concept of what it is, the Shakti, and what is Shakti, all these things are conveyed in the first chapter itself. So you make it very clear before you travel ahead. So, this origin of the world is based on three gunas. We have seen it as Moola Prakriti, unmanifested Prakriti aspect has got the balance of three gunas. Okay? In this, tamas means inertia. Inertia, both physical and mental darkness of mind. It manifests as heaviness, dullness, ignorance, and negative human tendencies, negative human behavior. So many times when the negativity comes in us, we have to understand that tamas is playing its part. Okay. Rajas is activity. So it is actually it is a kind of a grey area. Whereas sattvic is completely pure, light. Tamas is completely dark. Rajas is in between. It is activity. It manifests as restlessness, impurity. There's an urgency to do it. I'm very passionate about certain things only. It is Rajas. Rajas is predominant. Sattva is the balance. Sattva, we say, is the truthfulness. We have to understand here one more thing. It is not the reality. It points towards the reality. Sattva is not the end in itself. Sattva only tells this way you have to go. This is the reality. Because only when the mind is in balance, mind is not pulled by anything, it is in balance, we seek the truth. We go after what is the truth. So tamas veils, that is conceals. Sattva reveals. Sattva reveals the truth, tamas conceals the truth. Then Rajas makes these two polarizing forces to interact. There are two poles apart. One is tamas, one is sattvic. One is concealing, one is revealing. One is impure, the other one is pure. In between the ground is the Rajas. It makes both of them interact. So, when they interact, this is important, these three gunas determine the proportion with which they interact, create the entire world with its animate, inanimate beings. Entire universe is created from the physical structure of physical matter to the subtleties of human behavior. Everything is determined by these three gunas. The proportion, there are three. Permutation, combination, when you put also the percentage of each one. How many varieties in this world? The universe that holds the variety, unbelievable it is. All these things, the basis three gunas, the combination is made like that. We call minerals as jadam. Even the stones are jadam, but stone consists of minerals. So we go even one step down. Why we say like everything emerges from her, from the physical structure to the subtle human behavior. You can see the area, how wide it is. Okay? Minerals are called jadam. They are highly tamasic in nature because they stay in one place, dull, nothing else. Are they devoid of consciousness? Shantam says it also emerged from her physics says it has got atoms where the proton stays stable and neutron keeps going around. There is movement in the minerals. There is movement in the minerals, so you cannot call it as devoid of consciousness, but obscured consciousness. When Ahalya's story came, Ahalya didn't turn into stone, her consciousness turned into that level of being a stone. Okay, this is what. Minerals are obscure consciousness because the neutrons are still going around. When they are melted, they can amalgamation, you can mix with one another. So you cannot call them as completely jadam. There is that power exists even in that minerals. So this is highly tamasic in nature because they stay in one place. On the other side of the spectrum, you see a seer who is a realized soul evolved in the, I'm talking about from structure to the high human behavior, where a seer is a completely evolved soul, realized soul. He sees the divinity, he lives the divinity, he lives the divine life. So it is such a wide range. He is highly sattvic, whereas the minerals are highly tamasic. This is the two ends of the spectrum. Both are from her. That is the beauty of it. Shaktam says, all this, whatever you find in this universe, move, chara chara ulagam. Chara chara. Charam means moving, acharam means immovables. All the things, moving and not moving things, emerge only from her. Because that consciousness, which is in the obscure state, is her consciousness. It is her. So she is present even in that. Interestingly, next, we go deep into science now. Science and Shaktam, quantum physics.
Can consciousness and energy be understood as same in some senses?
Yes. Now I am coming into energy.
Okay.
Quantum physics and Shaktam. Quantum physics says vibrating quanta of energy form ever more complex units of matter to produce the entire cosmos. Should I break it? Energy is the main thing in this universe. The entire cosmos is filled with energy. So, there is energy means there is movement. There are waves. Movement, vibration. Energy comes when there is movement. That is why we call her as Shakti. Spandam. First, Saundarya Lahari. Spandam. Spandam is actually a Kashmiri religion. Spandam. So, spandam, that movement that happens in the Brahman creates that energy. So, when there is energy, there is movement. So, what happens? There is so much of this universe is filled with so much of energy. My energy can make some kind of a vibration with your energy and can create something new. He says, quantum physics says the entire cosmos creates matters because this cosmos is filled with matters. E is equal to mc square. Okay, the cosmos is filled with matter. How the matters with so much of variety is created? It is because the moment of the vibration of this energy. This is quantum physics. Okay? Vibrating quanta of energy, whatever the quantity of energy, if small kind levels, it will create something new. It is going to be in a big level of vibration, it is going to create something else. So the quanta of energy, the quantity of that energy, vibrating energy, decides on matters that are created in the cosmos. It creates, the entire cosmos is created like that. Quantum physics says that entire cosmos is created because of this quanta of energy, vibrating quanta of energy. Here in Shaktam we say the three gunas, sattvam, rajas and tamas, combine and recombine with increasing complexity, because the percentage of each guna in certain things, we all have all the gunas in us. In the same way, so every being in this world, in this universe, in this creation, has got all the gunas present in them, in different degrees. That is what? They combine and recombine to create the entire cosmos. They call it as energy, we call it as gunas. Quantum physics says the energy, different quanta of energy is combined to make the cosmos, to create the cosmos. We say here, the three gunas combine and recombine in all its complexity. The percentage is something mind-blowing, because we can see ourselves. No two humans are the same. Otherwise, no one will be a murderer here, if everybody is the same. But that is what the variety it is. So only the balance of these three gunas happen. Another aspect where quantum physics and Shaktam relates, scientists claim the amount of energy in the cosmos is constant. The energy in the entire cosmos is constant. Right? I'm not a physics person, I'm a literature person, but still, when scientists say, I agree, because we don't know something. But Swami Vivekananda, he said, the sum total of the energy of this cosmos is Shakti. You see, it is constant. The constant energy is, we call it as Shakti. Shakti represents the sum total of all the energies of this cosmos. Then you can just you can't comprehend that. The kind of what Shakti is, what we call as Shakti is, you cannot comprehend. Just imagine so many planets, so many. Milky Way itself has got so many galaxies, so many suns, the kind of energy, so many stars. Leave alone people who live in this earth. The energy of them, because their movements are highly, the speed of their movement so high, and the energy produced also is so high. The sum total of all the energies in this cosmos is, my divine mother said, Swami Vivekananda. My divine mother is the sum total of all the energy. Whereas the quantum physics calls it as the energy is constant. There is another aspect we have to, it is very, very interesting, like Shaktam and Advaitam. They are so much related. The one who propagated wrote so many. No, Saundaralahari itself is his. The one who propagated Advaitam, Adi Shankara Bhagavad. But there is some kind of a minor difference between these two. You must have heard so many times, like all of you must be aware of it because we are all exposed to Advaitic Vedanta. He says that they call the world as illusory, superimposed on the Parabrahman. I will explain a little more. We call it as Vivartavada, the rope and the snake. Everyone will know rope and the snake. In the Urmari dark, it is not, there is no light. If you see a rope, you can confuse yourself to be a snake. Unless there is light and clearly it is rope, till that time it is a snake for you. That is called Vivartavada. That is called Vivartavada of Advaita. He says like the world is true to that extent and world is also false to that extent. It is true as well as false. It is in between. Because rope is there. It can be snake also.
And it can be neither.
It can be neither also. No. Something has to be present there. Rope has to be there for you to have that doubt. If there is nothing, you will just walk off. Rope has to be there for you to doubt whether it is a rope or a snake. The world has to be there for you to understand whether it is real or not real. World has to be present. He says like, it's very clear. Advaitic philosophy is very clear. No? Rope has to be there. World has to be there for you to understand whether this world is real or not real. Without that, without this thing, there's no question arises there. So Advaitic philosophy is Vivartavada, we call it as. In contrast to this doctrine of Vivartavada, in Guptavati Bhaskara Raya says, Shantam is Parinamavada. Parinama, the evolution, theory of evolution. Millions of years before Charles Darwin was born, Shantam was propagating theory of evolution. They call as Parinamavada. Parinama means emerging. Everything emerged from there. It is an evolution. It was just keep changing. There may be higher beings. We call them as devas. Higher beings than human beings. We think we are the superior one. No, we are not. We are not the superior one. There are higher beings than us, which we are not aware of. We have not seen anybody like that. We give them a divine caption. We call them as divine superpowers. Right? So, Parinamavada, the world is continuously, there is a transformation going on. It is actual transformation. The Brahman changes itself into this world. The world is not superimposed on the Brahman, whereas Brahman itself, very interesting, when you see the Brahman, it is not changing. No change in that. Nirguna, Nirmaya, that is Brahman. But this Vikruti is something, the transformation that happens here is always changing. How this changing world emerged from changeless Brahman. Brahman itself, a character, you cannot call it as, because Nirguna Brahman, you cannot call it as a character. But they say here also they have an analogy, like rope and the snake. They call it as thread and cloth. They call it, threads can be woven into cloth. Thread is the cause, effect is the cloth. Thread is woven into a cloth. There is a change of form but not change of substance. This is an analogy given by Shantam. There is a change of form but not change of substance. Cloth still continues to contain those threads. But it is transformed. It is not thread anymore. It is transformed into something else. This is Shaktam theory. So, divinity is transformed into this world for some reason. Still the divinity is existing in this world. You have to understand that. It is because of the divinity the world is what it is. No, we said it encompasses both good and evil. So when evil things happens, you cannot complain. It emerged from there only. No? Shaktam says, like there is cause and there is effect. From the cause, this effect comes. There is a change of form. Transformation happens. There is completely change of forms. But there is no change of substance. So they say, like, this is the possibility that world with all limitations can emerge from limitless Brahman. This is the possibility, it says. This all comes here, Devi Mahatmyam, first chapter. I'm not exaggerating. How it comes, amazing. The talk that sage gives, mind-blowing it is. Then the question comes, what is the relationship between that supreme consciousness to the world of human experience? Only we can experience the Brahman. We cannot see the Brahman, we can only experience the Brahman. The supreme consciousness, you can experience it. You cannot give a figure into that because that is a figureless one, formless one. There's no form to that supreme consciousness. So you experience that supreme consciousness at least for some time. If you just, when you are not a self-realized soul, as all of us are, the universe projected by Mahamaya, who is a great goddess as well as great demoness, we feel all the dualities exist in this world. We are not able to transcend these dualities. Success is there, failure is there, good is there, evil is there, joy, misery. All the dualities are existing in this world, created because she is a great demoness. She creates all these dualities. For us to believe, if you are not self-realized, you get plunged, you just get drowned in that dualities. You are not able to transcend this duality and see the divine. That is the challenge she gives in front of us. She puts in front of us, this is the challenge she puts in. How you are going to transcend these dualities to see me. That is you have to tear that shackles of Maya. It's only she can do it. No? To get freed from that. Then there is there is a comparison between Bhagavad Gita and Devi Mahatmyam. Both happen in the battlefield. Battlefield is our, as I told, battlefield is our consciousness. Whenever paritranaya sadhuna, vinashaya cha dushkratam, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna gives that promise. Whenever when evil prevails over the good, and the nature is disturbed, there should be a balance between good and evil. When that balance is disturbed, I come to save the world, save the good. Here in Devi Mahatmyam, Devi says the same words. Ambal says the same words as Durga. Every time this negativity is going to take over, I will come to protect you. The same. And we have to understand the similarity. Both happen in the battlefield. As I told you, the battlefield is the battlefield, our consciousness. Human consciousness is the battlefield. We are always torn between good and evil. We are always torn between dharma and adharma. So many times it is so confusing. We don't know to choose. What is exactly, it is so like, Maya means it is literally Maya. So what happens, like now we saw the three gunas. Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. Devi Mahatmyam goes in this order. He says Tamasic Kali, Mahakali, Rajasic Mahalakshmi, and Satvik Mahasaraswati. Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. Initially, when only the 13 chapters existed, the Dhyana Slokam of this, because Purva Baham, Madhya Baham and Uttara Baham, the three Bahams in that. 1, 2 and 5. 5 is the Uttara Baham till the end, from 5th to 10th. So, these three Bhagams, around few centuries following the composition of Devi Mahatmyam, Dhyana Slokams were added only later of the three. There is a Dhyana Slokam before the first, that is Purva Baham. Madhya Baham is the second and third chapter, so before the second there is a Dhyana Slokam, and the fifth chapter, because fourth is like Stuti. So the fifth chapter is again the Uttara Baham starts where there is a Dhyana Slokam. These three Dhyana Slokams were incorporated much later. It is not when the thing was, it was not composed with the Dhyana Slokams. Only the text existed. Okay? We have to understand that. Then followed and one more thing, we said that the Dhyana Slokams is on, first Dhyana Slokam is on Mahakali, the second Dhyana Slokam is on Mahalakshmi, third Dhyana Slokam is on Mahasaraswati. And the Dhyana Slokams are composed in the Tantric fashion. Tantric way of, the description given of the deity, it's all based on Tantric tradition. And there are 6 angas, we call it as limbs of Devi Mahatmyam. Before the 13 chapters are read, it is customary, it is compulsory to read 3 angas. One is the Devya Kavacham. Kavacham is to don a protection. And Arghala Stotram. Arghalam means bolt, hymn of bolt. Kelakam means hymn of keys. We call it as, I will explain when it comes. Devya Kavacham, Arghala Stotram and Kelaka Stotram are added before, and it became mandatory to recite it before you recite the 13 chapters. Okay? Later, I told you 6 limbs, 6 angas were added to that in the 14th century, and 3 other are Pradhanika Rahasya, Vaikrutika Rahasya and Murti Rahasya. They are not compulsory as such. It is given optional, whether you can. The first 3 are the preparatory kind of preparing yourself towards before you get into reading. The last 3, the Rahasya Trayam, is mainly philosophy and the ritualistic worship. Formal worship, how it is done. Other than this, there are 2 hymns from the Vedas. One is Ratri Shuktam and the other one is Devi Shuktam. Ratri Shuktam is always recited before, and Devi Shuktam after completing the 13 chapters. Both are taken from the Rig Veda. Vedokta Ratri Shuktam, Vedokta Devi Shuktam. So Ratri Shuktam actually praises the starry night. It is a beautiful hymn praising the beautiful night where the entire universe goes to sleep mode, rest mode. And it also asks for protection from predators, because they are roaming around during that time in the night. So the protection from predators and the beautiful night where the mind rested. That is what Ratri Shuktam is. Devi Shuktam is by herself. She herself says. She reveals herself as the absolute transcendental reality. The slokas, when you say like they are mantra purvam, you say that all the 13 chapters, the entire Devi Mahatmyam has got bijams. Many recite only as bijams. Many recite Devi Mahatmyam only as bijams. There are bijams hidden in that. So it is all mantra purvam. Devya Kavacham, I told you, it invokes Shaktis. There are so many Shaktis reside in different parts of our body. And you invoke everyone to protect that respective part. Argala Stotram is bold. I told you, hymn of bold. It comes in styled Dharani meter. Dharani is a tantric meter. How it is like, the first line will be invoking the goddess. The second line will be asking for the assistance. You praise the Lord and then ask for assistance. It is like that. That is the style. Rupam Dehi, Jayam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, Dvisho Jahi. This is constant in Argala Stotram. It doesn't change. Give me the form, that is the indwelling form, the beautiful form of you. Show me that. Jayam Dehi means give me victory. Yasho Dehi, give me glory. Dvisho Jahi means kill my enemies. Destroy my enemies, not kill, I should say destroy my enemies. This is the constant prayer in the Argala Stotram. Okay? And Kilaka Stotram is very, very important in that. Kilakam means the hymn of the pin. Pivot, we call Kilakam means pivot. How, if there is a scissors, that small pivot that holds both sides of the scissors, if it is absent, then scissors don't work. No? If it has to work, that Kilakam, that pivot should be present. So the main Kilakam, when we say Kilakam, there are so many times when people ask me about one thing. Like when we say Lalita Sahasranamam, when we recite, we have the Rishinyasam. And when we say that, sometimes that Aim, Claim, Sau will come in the same order, or Aim, Sau, Claim. Why Claim sometimes is Kilakam and Sau sometimes is Kilakam? Because why you recite that, it is the one that is going to break that mantra. That is what is Kilakam. If your desire is breaking, you want all your wishes to be fulfilled, that is the crux of your recitation. Or you want yourself to be released. So you put Sauhu as Kilakam or Claim as Kilakam according to why you recite that sloka. Sometimes it changes, like so in some verses, but people who do the Nyasam, Rishi Nyasam, they will say. In that, the Kilakam is the main part of any dhyana, any recitation. In this Kilakam, the language is purposely kept as obscure. It is not like clear language. When you learn also, you will understand like it is not, the language is very difficult language. Mainly because it shouldn't go into wrong hands. Because this is the main reason why you are reciting. And what it conveys. It conveys only the complete surrender of the reciter. He completely surrenders. You can't do anything on your own. Sharanagati is the ultimate. With that mind, you start reciting the Devi Mahatmyam. Before you start, with a complete surrender, Sharanagati, you have to start. That is what Kilakam. What is the pivot of this? Is you are surrendering yourself to this. Surrendering yourself to the divinity is the crux of recitation of this great text. Pradhanika Rahasya. Now we come to the last three. The Pradhanika Rahasya is the secret relating to the primary matter. That is Mula Prakriti. It is, we know Mula Prakriti is formless and pure, which that pure consciousness assuming this world with full of forms and this thing. That is the transformation before it happens. And Vaikrutika Rahasya, Vikruti means transformation, I told you. Vaikrutika Rahasya is the secret relating to the transformation. Mula Prakriti is pure and limitless. How it is getting transformed into, with all the limitations, with the names and forms and everything, the formless one changing into the forms, names and forms and limitations, which we can perceive, because all said and done, the Brahman cannot be perceived, whereas the form, that is why we have deity worship. We give, figure to the Brahman, the deity of your worship. Murti Rahasya is again the secret relating to the different forms of her incarnations. Different forms. She has taken so many incarnations, that is regarding to that, and what is the benefit of worshipping each one of them. So when we have come to the end, 2 minutes. I never finish in time. Between 5th and 6th century, Common Era, this Devi Mahatmyam emerged as text. Okay? First, it spread only in the northern part of our country, especially in West Bengal. Even now, Chandi part is very famous in West Bengal. They call there as Chandi. This is the Devi Mahatmyam is called as Chandi in West Bengal. Chandi part. So during this Sharad Navaratri, they all recite there every day. That actually was widespread. It is much later. You talk about 5th and 6th century, and towards the 9th century, it traveled to the south. It acquired a new name called Durga Saptasati. Interestingly, the verses, the slokas, are not 700. Saptasati means 700. Okay, Saptashati, they have 700 verses. There are no 700 verses here. So they have to make it up, no? They say the slokas are 535 slokas. Ardha sloka. Ardha shloka is 42. So there are only 577 verses in this composition. How they arrived at 700, that Uvacha. For everything, Raja Uvacha, Vyasa, Vaisya Uvacha, Devi Uvacha, Deva Uchu. All this in this Uvacha comes 57 times in this. So Uvacha is 57 times, Ardha Shloka is 42 times, 42 Ardha Shlokas are there. And Shlokas as such are only 535 Shlokas are there. And Tripan Mantra, that is, if you see, you all must have heard of Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. Namastasya, Namastasya, Namastasya. That is called Tripan Mantra. Namastasya, Namastasya, Namastasya. 3 are counted like that. There are 66 times the Namastasya comes, Namastasya, 66. So they add 57 plus 42 plus 535 plus 66. They constitute 700. They arrive at the 700 figure and call it as Durga Saptashati in southern part of this country. This is it now as an introduction to our great journey. We'll start learning from next week. Guru Purnima.